Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another video on Shakespeare's sonnets. Today we're reading Sonnet 30. Now, like Sonnet 29, this sonnet begins with a complaint and it ends with a kind of consolation. In Sonnet 29, the thought of the narrator's dear friend brings him joy and wealth, but in this sonnet, the remembrance of his dear friend restores the narrator's loss. So we're going to be looking at some of the court metaphors that are governing this sonnet. Now we know that in poetry it's not so much what is being said, but it's how it's being said. So we're going to be looking at that as well. So let's look, beginning with this first quatrain. When to the sessions of sweet silent thought I summon up remembrance of things past, I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought, and with old woes new wail my dear time's waste. One of the first things you notice, of course, in the sound textures is this alliteration, the repetition of the S sound, which is called sibilance. Remembrance, we have it here as well, as in things and past. I'm just noting the S's. Sigh, we also have alliteration with woes, wail, my dear times, waste, and also with new, so we call this consonance, the repetition of a consonant. And it binds together these lines with its main theme. Again, we're in the theme of meditation, when in the sessions of sweet, silent thought. And here it begins, he establishes a court imagery here, the large conceit. Sessions is a meeting of a judicial body. And that word is linked to the word summon, which is a formal calling up, usually of a witness. So these two keywords here are drawn from the courtroom, really. So he's summoning up remembrance of things past as though summoning a witness to the stand. And then in the second quatrain, so here's the first quatrain, the first 4 lines, moving into the second. Then can I drown an eye unused to flow for precious friends hid in death's dateless night, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woe, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. We have some repetition of sounds here with I and I in this joke in a way that the I drowns unused to flow for friends who have died. And more links here. I'll probably just stop noting them because they're all throughout. But here we have, again, court imagery. Canceled. Now, canceled means to annul or revoke. Usually in a debtor's court, if a debt was canceled, it was annulled. So it was declared no longer a debt. So here with this word cancel, he suggests this financial imagery, blending it with the court imagery, and then he really makes it explicit in this next line, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. So an expense here is a word taken from the financial debtor's court of the time. Moving on to the final quatrain. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er the sad account of fore-bemoaned moan, which I knew pay, as if not paid before. So now we learn that he is the one being called into account to pay these debts, these grievances. We have here what's called polyptyton, which is the repetition of words of a similar origin within a line. We have grieve and grievances there. I'm going to say polyptyton here. And we have more repetition from woe to woe, tell o'er. This is just simple repetition, not polyptyton. But then we do have polyptyton in the next line. The sad account of fore-bemoaned moan. This root here. So here's polyptyton. There it is again. And what's interesting here, too, is that this fore-bemoaned will be reversed. This for-be will be reversed in this final word of the quatrain with before, which I pay as if not paid before. So it's the sad remembrance of things that's really calling him to account, to pay in tears, in grieving the debt that is owed them. And he says in this final couplet, but if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored, and sorrows end. Now, restitution, where we get restored from, was a kind of legal restitution in which debts were canceled or put away. We have that here echoed here in the long sense, canceled woe. Now it's canceled again, and the losses are restored in the thought of his dear friend. I should have noted, too, that grievance is also court language, meaning a formal complaint. So you see how the court imagery really binds this sonnet as its own kind of unity together throughout the poem, along with these interlocking rhymes and repetitions. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for joining me, and until next time.